Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Raising little ones is a big job, and you do your best to give them a good start every day. That means making sure they're well cared for while you're apart. You work hard, but it's not always easy to make ends meet. There may be help. Find out if you qualify for Nebraska's Child Care Tax Credit for working parents. You could be eligible for a credit of up to $2,000 per child on your next tax return. Learn more at nebraskachildcaretaxcredit.org. Brought to you by First 5 Nebraska and Nebraska Children and Families Foundation and aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Wrestling fans, it's time to elevate your game, just like Stevens & Smith Construction does for your concrete needs. As your full-service concrete contractor, we deliver solid results every time. From singles to doubles, fighting for inside position to scrambling reversals, we know how to pin down quality and slam expectations. Stevens & Smith Construction, a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket, where Husker wrestlers bring you all the action. Don't stall. Stevens & Smith Construction is here to help you build a concrete foundation for the win. Check us out at www.stevensandsmith.com because stalling is a penalty and winning is the only option.
Looking for a financial partner that truly makes a difference? Modern Woodman is a member-owned fraternal financial services organization. We can help you plan for all stages of life, from protection to saving to retirement. We also offer member benefits, social activities, and volunteer opportunities to help your family and community.
I'm Sean Erickson, your Modern Woodman representative in Lincoln. Call me at 402-483-6515 to start the conversation.
Modern Woodman of America, touching lives, securing futures.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Chancellor Brewington, powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program.
That's right. It's time for What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington here on 93.7 The Ticket. I'm Jake Bachman in studio alongside your host, Chancellor Brewington. Chancellor, how's it going today?
Man, it's going fantastic. I'm having a great day, great Thursday. Got a doubleheader today, Bach.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, nighttime show too. Nighttime show. I think I don't know what time. I think we might be at 8 tonight, but got a doubleheader today. So tune in later tonight. It'll be me and Harrison after. But yeah, no, I'm doing great, man. How are you doing, Bach?
Oh, not too bad. I can't complain. We're getting along throughout the day. It's not as cold as it was a few days ago. I'd feel a little better if Nebraska basketball could win a game once in a while. But.
So break it down for me because I'm not too into watching college basketball. So break it down. So what's happening with Husker basketball? Because I see tweets here and I see this. I've really never watched the games live. What's going on with Husker basketball?
It's tough to say. It would be nice if you could pinpoint it down to one thing, right? But it's kind of they're just coming up short in some of these games toward the end. They were 12-2. They had victories over Creighton and UCLA, who were both ranked at the time. They won a tournament, a regular season tournament that they hadn't done that since like the year 2000 or something. So things were really clicking. Had one of the best non-cons Nebraska's had in quite some time. And then this 5-game streak started with overtime loss to Iowa, where they had this big lead and they were giving up all these points in that game, gave up a lot of points to Purdue, just insane assist numbers, insane 3-point numbers from those other teams. And so, kind of each game is kind of its own story. So because it's kind of defensive problems, but then these last couple of games, especially the ones, at home, you've had the Rutgers and USC. Those are teams that are solid, but the kind of middle back portion of the Big Ten, Nebraska had a 20-game home winning streak. And now they've lost 2 in a row at home, 5 overall. Again, I don't know if it's one giant thing. You can get into roster. Every team's going to have holes. There's certain things that they could do better. But it's just about finishing these games and being 1 or 2 possessions better than their opponents. And they've been 1 or 2 possessions worse the last couple games.
Yeah, and I'm not saying the basketball program is the same as football program, but, for the past 5 years, we did a top 10 list of the best players from the past 5 years. And throughout each 5 of those teams, they've had kind of the same struggles, and I was on a couple of them, and it was just finishing. It didn't always seem like it was going to go down to the wire all the time, but it always did. And so, and like you said, you never know what possession is valuable. Like, you never know which one is the one. Like, in Football Reference, it could your first 3 and out of the game, and that's the one that you really needed. I remember Rutgers. We went 3 and out right away, and if we would have been all right, and I think someone had a drop. I think it was Jamal Banks or something. Raiola hit him across the middle. He dropped the ball. If we complete that probably changes the whole landscape of the game. It doesn't turn into this, grudge match where the defense has to do all this and the offense gets things going early. So you just never know what play specifically is going to pop the whole thing open. And I think that, like you said, like each possession is so critical. And it's definitely not to be taken for granted. And I think that should be, and probably is, the focus for Nebraska's offseason. And it has been for so long, though. And so that's the point where it's like, this is the question. Do you keep stressing the pain point, right? Do you keep stressing it and drawing attention to it, or you just get better at something else? I think that's the question, because it's like the fumble thing, right? So you go and fumble. We go and fumble. What year was that? 23. We had 21. We had a lot of ball security things in 21 too. So you go and do that, right? And so in the off season, all of a sudden we kind of stop talking about it, right? And we just focus on getting better somewhere else. And for the most part, in 22 we got better, right? And then Rule comes in 23. It's like fumble mayhem. Like, it's not even really the same play. It's not the same players, right? So, but it's just fumble mayhem. I mean, quarterbacks fumbling. I mean, guys are hitting the ball during the motion, right? All these different things, right? So in the offseason, how do you approach that? Do you say, and also you're losing games by one possession. So what do you do? I think what the question is, what's the approach? Do you get better at ball security and focus on not fumbling the football? Or do you just get more efficient on offense and just say, if we get more efficient, ball security will take care of itself? I think that's the biggest question for me. And just like the basketball, I mean, it's different. Obviously, basketball and football are completely different. But, when you're losing games by possessions and it boils down to one overarching thing, and it's like offense doesn't finish, or defense lets up this, or, we turn the ball over in critical situations. The question for me always has been during these times, like in meetings and team meetings, especially where you got the whole team and the head coaches there, and maybe position or coordinators are they're speaking, they're talking about the problem, and it's like, all week, do we focus on the problem, or do we get better at something else, or do we get better at the overarching thing around the problem, right? If it's ball security, well, okay, can we block better to make sure the running back gets through holes and makes things a little bit easier, right? Like, can we call a little bit better plays for this and this, right? Or can we just focus on just blowing teams out the water instead of focusing on chasing three?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fascinating too, because they've got they did win a couple one possession games this year, but they were games that they had 2 possession leads in that went down to 1 possession, right? So that one possession battle that Nebraska's kind of been facing, part of it's holding on to a lead, but it's really just kind of making those plays, tie ball game, 3-point ball game, whatever it might be. And, so those statistics can be skewed too. And I wanted to ask you, because you were on the 3-9 team, the best 3-9 team, right, in 2021. Yeah. Which we can make jokes about it, but at the same time, that team was talented. That team could play with just about anybody on their schedule, and they did. But just couldn't win a couple plays here and there, like we're saying. But that's always kind of the question to me, is because people feel like, okay, once they do it, then there's going to be an avalanche of this. They know how to win every game. But there's also programs that out there that aren't hyper focused on that. You say you go 4-5 in one possession game,
right? And
so it's not like, okay, well, they won 4, they know how to do it, now they're going to start doing it. It's tough to win one possession game. So I don't know. I wouldn't hyper focus on it, almost just because I wouldn't want you to win a one possession game and then think, oh, we've made it, we know how to do it now.
Right? Yeah, that is the flip. That is the flip on it. And I think we're getting better at it. I think the first 2 years was like an adjustment. Because I've said it like this like playing football at Lincoln, at playing football at UNL, it's not like playing football at a lot of places, right? It's not like playing football at Baylor or playing football at Temple, or I'm just using those
Yeah.
because that's where Rule came from. But it's not playing like at ASU or U of A or Oregon State or Washington State. Like it's not. It's just there's a bunch of focus. There's not a lot of things, on the outside, going on, and everything is put into Nebraska. It's, I mean, quadruple the media coverage. It's, not only in-state media coverage, but national media coverage, because people either really want to see Nebraska be on top, or for the most part, people don't want to see Nebraska be on top, and they like seeing Nebraska 4-7, like seeing Nebraska, 3-9. Like they like they like those things. So it's tough. So I think that influences, I think, sometimes decision making when I don't know if it should. To be honest, like I think sometimes there's points where you're like, where you see certain decisions being made and you're like, is this out of a response or a reaction to what someone else has said outside the program, right? And so I think when you boil it down, um if they just if and it's been hard because I feel like we've last year was the closest I've seen from externally and internally, just like understanding what's going on. I think it was the closest to saying, like, this is who we are, the beginning of the year. Like, this is who we are. We do this and we're going to do this. And then all of a sudden we lose a couple, and it seemed like everything, like the boat shifted, and all of a sudden you let some water get in, and everyone kind of freaked out instead of staying calm and knowing that, the storm's going to be over in a little bit. And I think you kind of made it worse. You kept moving in the boat, right? And all of a sudden more water kept getting in. Now you're sinking a little bit more. You're sinking, and then you hit a bye week. And I think maybe it was a little chaotic during that bye week. Now looking hindsight, maybe it was a little too chaotic, and maybe you're thinking it's a lot worse than what it was, and then you kind of figure something out at the end, right? Nothing too crazy. You get one game, right? But you figure something out, and then, you lose Iowa game, and then you figure something out with the bowl game. And like I said, it kind of puts a Band-Aid on a larger wound. But it's almost like we were so close at the beginning of this year. It's not really the wins and losses as a result of what's happening internally, right? So you don't get the 9-3 and the 10-2s if you don't figure out, in not so much in-house, but I would say in the individuals, right? And obviously them forming a collective, but like them finding out who they are and staying with it no matter what happens. And I think sometimes within the Nebraska programs I've seen and been a part of, is that too many times external circumstances dictate what's going on in-house. Instead, it should always be, this is who we are internally. Why? Because this is who we are. There's no explanation. I mean, this is what we did in the offseason. This is what we did in spring. This is what we did in summer. This is what we did in fall camp. This is what we're going to do when we're 4-0. This is what we're going to do when we're 0-4. Like we've said, it's called burning the boats. You burn the boats on who you are, identity-wise, right? You burn the boats identity-wise, and then you just let the chips fall where they may, and you don't panic. That's what I saw mid-season panic. I saw it in higher up, and I saw it, and naturally that's what a human being's response is. You go on a fight or flight, and, stress hits you and whatever. But if you can somehow come back to the center, not get out on the circumference, not get out on the edges, and come back to the center, which is yourself, and say, okay, this is who we are. Is the sky falling? Do we all have to go outside as a team and say, is the sky falling? No? Okay, cool. Let's go back inside and let's analyze film and get better and understand who we are and understand our core values as a team, understand our core values as, and this don't even apply for football. This could be just in the individual. But I think for me, what I've observed, that's probably been the biggest thing, is understanding who we are. And it's not a facade. It's not a sweet thing we tell ourselves to make ourselves feel good in the dog days of camp. Like, it's really who we are, and we don't bend on it. We don't break on it. We stay true to it. And when the adversity comes, because it's going to come, It's not a question of if it's going to come, it's when. So when the obstacle comes, when the trial comes, when one of our best players gets hurt and a backup has to go in, or a true freshman has to come in and start, Gunnar Gatula, hint, hint, nobody, and I'm not saying he didn't do anything good. I'm saying just an example of, adversity. A true freshman has to play, a guy who's a senior who's never played before, a guy who's never played a snap has to come in and give quality minutes. Now you're like, well, we just fall back on who we are. We always fall back on who we are instead of, this gonna be a hard, this gonna be whatever. No, it's we punish teams.
But we talked about that too, and that they probably throughout the season just didn't seem to have an identity, even within the run game, which was something you pointed out. Was like usually at least a team knows, okay, we got a few run plays we can determine on, but from game to game, it was like they were going based off the defense's weakness or trying to attack that rather than, this is a play that we run against you. We'll run it in 3 weeks from now. We'll run it 6 weeks from now because it's what we do well.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely an identity thing, and it's tough. It's tough when you feel, especially within a team where it seems like one side of the ball has one. That's where you get conflict. That's where you kind of get that friction between offense and defense. You battle it, you always have your team periods during practice, and when one team's not performing on Saturdays, or on one side of the ball isn't performing on Saturdays, you can't help but be like, hey man, can y'all pick it up? And then if you're on that side that's not doing it, now you're not really thinking about performing well. Now you're like, man, I got to make up for this because we did bad on this, whatever. And you lose your identity, right? So you always have to come back to identity. I think that falls on leaders on the team. And like we talked about, there's a lot of transitions happening in this offseason, and a lot of them aren't just physical. It's also mentally and becoming that leader within rooms and within groups for a lot of guys.
Well, it's kind of funny because we go full circle. We started talking about the basketball team and maybe their problems that they're having. A lot of new guys, maybe not quite finding an identity at this point in the season. It'll be very important with all these expectations for Nebraska football, all these newcomers, new coordinators, that they figure out who they are going into the season and not throughout the season. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be back with more on What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington coming up next year on 93.7 The Ticket.
Ever stare at the Hog Wild menu and feel like you just can't make up your mind because it all looks so good? Well, when I want a little bit of everything, I get a little bit of everything on Hog Wild's Smokestack Sandwich. On a butter-toasted bun, we pile on our hickory smoked beef brisket and juicy hot links. The hard part is choosing between fresh curly fries, classic baked beans, or coleslaw on the side. Order online at GoHogWild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway in Lincoln.
I'm softball player Jordy Ball, and I'm proud of my Nebraska roots, and I'm proud to be back home. And at Midwest Bank, they're proud to be your local community bank. They believe in family first, taking initiative, showing integrity, and rolling up their sleeves to support their local communities. They treat everyone like family, no matter where you're from. Whether you walk into a branch in York, Lincoln, Norfolk, or Pierce, you know you're going to be welcomed with a smile. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank.
Landmark Implement, your John Deere dealer, invites you to their annual sprayer clinic at the Buffalo County Fairgrounds in Kearney on February 5th and 6th. This hands-on event offers expert training on John Deere and Hagie sprayers, covering topics such as machine maintenance, spray tip selection, and exact apply technology. New this year, classes on autonomy preparation, see and spray, and variable rate operation. Don't miss this opportunity, February 5th and 6th in Kearney. Learn more at landmarkimp.com/events.
Wrestling fans, it's time to elevate your game, just like Stevens & Smith Construction does for your concrete needs. As your full-service concrete contractor, we deliver solid results every time. From singles to doubles, fighting for inside position to scrambling reversals, we know how to pin down quality and slam expectations. Stevens & Smith Construction, a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket, where Husker wrestlers bring you all the action. Don't stall. Stevens & Smith Construction is here to help you build a concrete foundation for the win. Check us out at www.stevensandsmith.com because stalling is a penalty and winning is the only option.
Hey there, fellas. It's your girl Jordan with Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Allow me to get a bit sappy. For women, jewelry isn't just a gift. It's a timeless symbol of love and appreciation. You have to get this right. No fleeting trends or gadgets will make the impact. Every time she wears it, every time she gets a compliment, you win. Trust me, guys. You'll get your money worth. Until next time, this is Jordan at Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Happy shopping, guys.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Hey guys, this is Lexi Rodriguez, former Husker and now League One volleyball athlete. League One Volleyball is bringing the action to Omaha with our first serve on January 24th, 7 p.m. at the Liberty First Credit Union Arena in Ralston. Witness history in the making as we take on Love Madison in our first ever home match. Visit lovboma.com for tickets. First serve January 24th. Be there when it all begins. That's lovboma.com for tickets to watch Love Omaha Volleyball. Go Big Red and go Big Green.
Be sure to check out the top-selling Recomp. Recomp helps build lean muscle and strength while decreasing body fat. Recomp is ideal for men and women of all ages trying to look their best. Recomp can only be found in Nutrition Authority. For info, visit mynutritionauthority.com.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Raising little ones is a big job, and you do your best to give them a good start every day. That means making sure they're well cared for while you're apart. You work hard, but it's not always easy to make ends meet. There may be help. Find out if you qualify for Nebraska's Child Care Tax Credit for working parents. You could be eligible for a credit of up to $2,000 per child on your next tax return. Learn more at nebraskachildcaretaxcredit.org. Brought to you by First 5 Nebraska and Nebraska Children and Families Foundation and aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Back to What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program.
We are back here on What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington on 93.7 The Ticket. I'm Jake Buckman in studio alongside your host, Chancellor Brewington. Chancellor, what's brewing for segment number 2 here?
On the topic of Nebraska football, top 10 quarterbacks came out on 3. Number 1, Sam Levitt. Ooh. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad. You saw what he did at ASU. I feel like we were both kind of fans of him this past year on just the way he was able to do things. Obviously, Cam Scatterboo, but you got Drew Aller at 2. Do you agree Sam Levitt at 1?
I like that. I mean, it's going to be, I mean, that offense relied so much on Cam Scadaboo. So it's kind of like turning that page into, okay, what can you do without him? I mean, they had a great wide receiver that they were without in that playoff run and still did a pretty good job. I'm surprised to see him maybe quite so high. Maybe another, I think this is projecting a little bit, right? But I like it where it is. I mean, he took Arizona State to the playoffs. And remember, too, before Dylan Raiola committed to Nebraska, there was a few days there where Sam Leavitt was considered a possibility at Nebraska. So just kind of interesting to see him go out to Tempe and do what he was able to do. But again, to me, I want to see it without Cam Scadaboo because there's a lot of instances of the situation, I should say, where a quarterback is kind of maybe the second best guy in offense, and then is asked to take that next step the next year without the guy that he relies on, and you don't always get the best results there.
I couldn't imagine. Well, I could imagine, but I couldn't imagine how hard it would be to be a star quarterback at ASU and focus, but focus. That's the you can star quarterback, go crazy, but to be able to focus, though, for people that haven't been to Tempe, Arizona, don't know what I'm talking about. If you've ever watched any of the party movies, if you ever watched, the Project X, the I don't know, the Bachelor, whatever. ASU is the equivalent of that. If not, I don't even know if you can really put it in there. There's a story, and I'll keep it PG, but there's a story, of course, of there was a first rounder who first came to ASU, right? He's from my city, but he first came there, and he was a freshman, and he got put in these dorms, right? And the dorms have a name, right? And it's not very appropriate, right? And so, okay. but you have to understand. So they put all the football. This was back in the day. This is probably like 2017, 2018. They put all the football players in that dorm.
Oh,
with co-ed.
Why did they do this?
This is just how they This is how they did it.
Yeah.
And so usually, like freshmen, you put your male freshman football players away. You tuck them away. You put them. You bury them, right? You go and put them somewhere in a bunker, right? So they don't get in trouble, right? Because right. You gotta think, like, and this is before NIL. Like, there's not like a brand to really keep up with, right? This is kind of before social media, so you can get away with, all these different things. Man, they guys was missing summer workouts. Guys are missing fall camp days. They coming in the room, and you could only imagine. I mean, you can only imagine what's going on in there, right? but it's literally this thing where if you're at ASU, especially now with NIL and money and all these different things, the amount of focus you have to not let those type of things come and bite you, right, is tremendous. So my conclusion is basically, Sam Leavitt, stay focused, my brother. Stay focused, because you never know. Yeah. But anyways, number 4 probably will be number 1 when we look back at it, is Arch Manning on this top 10 QBs. I think Arch Manning will be number 1, or this next one, Lenore Sellers.
Oh yeah,
he's nasty, and he can get it done 2 ways. Carson Beck is at 7, and Nico from Tennessee is at 10. Now the Nebraska boy, or the Nebraska man, Dylan Raiola, at number 23. And so, I mean, when you look at the list, I mean, you got some names in there. I mean, you got CJ Bailey from NC State. You got Diego Pavea, I believe, from Vanderbilt. Had some good outings.
Yeah.
I mean, beat Bama and, that in that fashion. Jaden Mayava, USC at 22, so right before Raiola. Miller Moss at 24. He just transferred to Louisville. Then Julian Sayin at Ohio State is at 25. So he's got some good company around him. I think if what I'm predicting with the connection with Dane Key, the connection with Hunter, the connection with all these things, I don't see why not, or how he could not be in the top 10. That's where I'm at with it. And I think out of that bunch, I think Arch Manning for me is probably the number one. Like you said, Sam Levitt, Cam Scatterboo. I mean, you don't really know. Was this a one-hit wonder, or is this team really who they are? And when we talked about this, when a team starts winning, hold on, nobody's safe, right? But yeah, I think Raiola can get in that top 10 conversation.
I think he certainly can. And I think if you would have done this list mid-season, he might be in that top 10.
Yeah.
Remember at the beginning of the year, his only 2 picks were like picks that the defensive back had to like rustle away from the wide receivers. So they were at least on point. Even his inaccurate throws were pretty darn accurate, unless he was trying to throw it out of bounds. And then as the season progressed, obviously he started to struggle. And I think his stock started to fall a little bit. And obviously you got to a point where you had to replace an offensive coordinator.
Right.
I mean, that's not ideal to, with if you're talking about that level of talent in the room. So I understand it. I do think that there's obviously the cosplay Mahomes thing. People kind of know him for that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that his brand or the way that he's been viewed did drop a little bit in that second half of the season. So he's got a little bit of room to make up there. And certainly I think he can do it. But I am a little bit surprised because when I saw the top 10, I didn't know there was a top 25. I figured, he'd be just on the outskirts of that. But it's somewhat of an eye-opener to me just to kind of see where nationally he is. And like you said, it's not a terrible thing. People are saying Julian Saint could be the next great thing. It's interesting that Arch Manning's that high on the list when he didn't really play a whole lot and Dylan played a whole season. So, I mean, there's different ways to view it, but I guess it just kind of like partially opens up my eyes to what the nation sees in Dylan Raiola. And it's understandable. Again, 13 touchdowns, 11 picks, didn't wow, had moments to wow you, but never had a 300-yard game or anything like that. So, it's very interesting. Like you said, I like the upside of it.
Let me ask you this question because I wasn't here for it. And maybe the fans and the people on the text line can chime in on this. What was the hype around? Obviously, Adrian, his freshman year, goes and has a pretty good year, right? If I'm not mistaken, has a pretty good year, breaks some records. What was the conversation like after that year for him? Going back, was it like, were you more on for Adrian being this catapult of Nebraska football and he's going to be the next whatever, compared to what we're talking about Dylan in year 2? What is the differences, the commonalities? What was the vibe and what's the vibe like now?
Well, there's actually some similarities because Dylan Raiola, or excuse me, Matt Rule has been he hasn't so much framed it, but he's kind of adjusted to the fact that his resume is framed around year 3, kind of being the big, time that he takes off, and he'll openly talk about it. And he says that.
Yeah.
So, and that was the same thing with Frost. Frost came in and says, you better get us now. By year 2, we're going to be really good. So by going into year 2, that was, and then at the end of year 1 for Martinez, they were, in close games with Iowa, Ohio State, some of the top teams in the country. They won some games down the stretch to finish 4-8 after starting 0-6. So it was like, okay, they turned it on. They figured it out. And so even into that next year, they had a halftime lead over Colorado, the second game of the season, and they had they were in the top 25. So that was kind of the hype, was they're getting in the top 25 discussion, which Nebraska is now. And so it was probably, it's tough to compare to Dylan, but I think it's a fair comparison. Is that I think because he had a better freshman season than Dylan, maybe there was a little bit more hype. Like there was legitimate Heisman hype,
Right.
national. They'd have him like 6th or something. Whereas on these lists, again, he's kind of fallen a little bit.
Oh, so he was like top 10.
Yeah, he was.
Okay.
He was really expected to take off, and part of it too. I mean, like I mentioned Scott Frost earlier. He said, I think it might have been going into his sophomore year, that he was making throws that only that guy in Kansas City was making.
Referring
to Adrian and referring to Patrick Mahomes.
Oh wow!
So I mean, the hype was not. It was elevated,
Right.
I should say, by the head coach, and so we wanted to believe in it. And then I mean, they were doing different stuff with his body, obviously adding weight, losing weight throughout his career. That some would say he probably was playing his best ball his freshman year.
That's interesting. I believe he was heavy his freshman year, weight wise, right?
I think he was able to move around. I'm trying to remember how it went. I think it might have been heavy, and then they tried to lose some weight in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that could be a similar thing with Dylan too.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, that just came to my mind because I'm just like, where I guess I'm every day, like I'm on Twitter obviously before the shows, and I'm on Twitter just kind of seeing what the pulse is around the program and what the fans are saying, what media is saying, what the news is saying, like, combining it. And I think people are super hopeful still of Raiola, and I mean, my gosh, why wouldn't you be? I think there are some naysayers, and there are going to be naysayers in every community. But the thought of, what it was like during Adrian's tenure, especially in his first year, I wasn't around for that, right? So getting a better picture. And I don't think what Adrian's career did or how it transpired will have anything to do with Raiola's. I think Raiola's something special, man. I really do. I think he carries himself the right way. I think he understands his brand and his image, but also he understands like how to take care of business on the field and off the field. And I think that's the type of guy you want leading the program, and that's the type of guy you build around, and they've done that. So
absolutely, they have. All right, let's take a quick break. We've got one more segment here on What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington coming up next here on 93.7 The Ticket. Don't go anywhere.
You hungry? You know you are. We got chicken fingers, crunchy, fries are golden crispy, baby. Yo, don't forget about the cane sauce, baby. Ooh, here's the spot. Hello.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see partly sunny skies, and it will be breezy and chilly. The high of just 26. Tonight, mainly clear skies and light winds, in that low around 12. And tomorrow, we'll see mostly sunny skies return. It'll be breezy with the high near 43. I'm meteorologist Kyle Becker from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road.
At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we strive to provide you with the right coverages for all your insurance needs by taking the time to meet with you and review what coverages best fit your needs. So whether you're in the market for home, auto, farm, business, life, or a combination of any of these coverages, we can help with making sure you, your family, or your business have the right coverage based on your individual needs. If you would like to review your insurance needs, please contact Ben Spurt with Farm Bureau Financial Services at 402-217-9945 or through email at ben.spurt@fbfs.com.
It's the new year, and it's time for a new John Deere. Acres has all new John Deere compact tractors, mowers, and Gator UTVs on sale with money-saving financing options. Whether it's recreation or landscaping, Acres has the John Deere for you. Visit your local Acres store for details. And don't forget, Acres has a full lineup of used equipment as well. Act now. These incentives expire January 31st, 2025. Financing program subject to approved credit with John Deere Financial. Some restrictions may apply.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
Landmark Implement, your John Deere dealer, invites you to their annual sprayer clinic at the Buffalo County Fairgrounds in Kearney on February 5th and 6th. This hands-on event offers expert training on John Deere and Hagee sprayers, covering topics such as machine maintenance, spray tip selection, and exact apply technology. New this year, classes on autonomy preparation, see and spray, and variable rate operation. Don't miss this opportunity, February 5th and 6th in Kearney. Learn more at landmarkimp.com/events.
Husker fans, this season, Nebraska is celebrating 50 years of Husker women's basketball, and they need you to help celebrate. You've shown up for women's hoops from the start and continue to prove that Nebraska fans really are the best in the nation. On Sunday, January 26th, the Huskers face Big Ten opponent Ohio State, and they're calling on all Husker fans to help pack PBA so they can celebrate 50 years of Husker women's hoops together. Get your tickets now and be a part of this historic season. For event and ticket information, go to huskers.com/tickets. Automotive Solutions is Lincoln's one-stop shop for all your vehicle needs, from vinyl wraps to engine repair and maintenance. Automotive Solutions offers fleet services, as well as printing and graphic design for vinyl applications, plus installation of vinyl for boats, trucks, cars, and anything else you want wrapped. Perfection is their standard, and they never settle for less. Call today at 531-249-5600 or go to automotivesolutionslincoln.com to learn more. That's Automotive Solutions, 2024 Southwest 5th Street in Lincoln.
It happens. All of a sudden, you need a plumber. Just call Bryant, 467-1111. Problem solved with Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Hello.
Angela, we have to break up.
But why?
Because you're a robot and I'm just a guy trying to get better internet.
It's Ella Fiber, isn't it? I always knew you wanted faster speeds. My contract isn't good enough for you.
Face it, Angela, they let me talk to real people.
Press 4 to break my heart. Oh wait, you already did.
Visit allofiber.com to switch today.
Hey guys, this is Lexi Rodriguez, former Husker and now League One volleyball athlete. League One volleyball is bringing the action to Omaha with our first serve on January 24th, 7 p.m. at the Liberty First Credit Union Arena in Ralston. Witness history in the making as we take on Love Madison in our first ever home match. Visit lovboma.com for tickets. First serve January 24th. Be there when it all begins. That's lovboma.com for tickets to watch Love Omaha volleyball. Go Big Red and go Big Green.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Back to What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program.
We are back here on a Thursday afternoon with What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington in studio. I'm Jake Bachhoven. Chancellor, what do we got going for segment number 3 here?
Got some news about Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
Yeah, we not talking about his girlfriend this time.
Not too much.
We is not talking about his girlfriend. Oh, we might. I don't know. Teach his own, of course. But what's the news? A buyout situation. He finally signed after being unsigned for some time. Yeah.
That's pretty much is what goes on. Is people were waiting to see if he would get this contract done, and they did. And it is kind of interesting. He's got a $10 million buyout before June 1st. Of 2025. So whoever would come and maybe try to pick him off, there's been talks about maybe a question or so from Tom Brady or different people from the NFL if he'd be interested. Well, it would cost them $10 million to get him out of there. But after June 1st, it's only $1 million. So it's kind of interesting. And I don't know which side would necessarily be fighting for that. But, for a 73-year-old coach, maybe that's part of it. I figured that there would be a bigger buyout, and it's just a front-loaded buyout.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
that's kind of foreign language to me. But when I look at a situation, it seems like UNC is just happy to get him. It seems like it's happy to get him, and I don't know if they're expecting this incredible 10-year span of Bill Belichick, and they're expecting 10 years out of him. I think it's a thing from my perspective. I think it's a thing where they're happy to get him. It'll get some attention to UNC. I think it will be kind of what the Jordan brand needs or wants. I would say that I don't think the Jordan brand needs anyone. But I think Belichick probably fits what they want to do. I think the access to him was there through whatever means it was. And now it's a thing where, you have a chance to get Bill Belichick. Who passed that up? Unless you already have someone and you're happy with them. But if you have a chance to get Bill Belichick, bring him in. It's just, you just figure out a way to hide the girl.
Yeah, that's right. back around her. But it's interesting, like, when you ask, like, what do they expect of him? What do you expect? Do you expect 2 or 3 years? Do you expect 8 or 9 wins? I mean, what do you think about Bill Belichick in Chapel Hill? It's crazy fascinating, but it's even hard for me to wrap my head around what do I think even will happen out of it.
You get, well, I mean, let's say he gets 8 wins or 9 wins, right? Say he's a decent team. Okay, well, you know who's going to be calling? NFL is going to be calling. They're calling right now. So if he wins, they're really going to be calling. And even if he doesn't win, they're going to be calling still. So I don't think if he wins, they're going to call. If he loses, they're going to call. And the offer is going to be, I mean, the sales pitch is going to be, when he loses, it's going to be, well, you know, if you had this roster and you know, the NFL does things differently and you know the NFL better than anyone. And, you know, this college game isn't you and this, and this, right? Or when he wins, it's going to be, see, you still got it, Bill. We need that juice here. We need that juice in Atlanta, or we need that juice with the Cowboy, whoever it is,
Whoever's
right?
open, yeah.
Or the Raiders, whoever it is. So it's I think he's out of there soon. I don't think it's a 5-year even. I think it's like 2 or 3. I don't know if UNC is going to get to the national championship or they're going to get to the college football playoffs. I think if it's an 8-win season, I think it's successful. I think if it's a 10-win season, I mean, he might be coach of the year, right? I mean, if he's a 6-game season, nobody's going to be, you know, oh, his legacy's, you know, this. No, I think he's already established in history. And I think these next few years, whatever he decides with UNC and however UNC just, you know, plays and the results wise, I don't think it affects his history, but I still don't think he's going to be there for that much longer, unless it just goes insane and, you know, you just break the mold and you kind of have one of those like Oregon years, or you have a SMU year where you get to college football playoffs and, you know, you get there, right? And then I think, you know, Bill's competitive nature, you know, Coach Belichick, I think he's probably going to want to come back, and, you know, maybe that will help a little bit, but I don't know. I don't know what the end goal is in mind. Maybe it's to leave a legacy for his son to come in and be the head coach. I think that would be an honorable move. I mean, that would be a legacy move, a succession move. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's almost like he's just going to start his own kind of different chapter there in college, because, you know, the big question with him is always going to be how much of it was him, how much of it was Tom Brady. And, you know, the post after the breakup, Tom Brady goes and wins the Super Bowl elsewhere, and he's struggled to the point that they just kind of parted ways. And so, you know, short of winning a championship or something at North Carolina, I don't think there's anything you can do to really affect that thought process. So, but the other thing is it just seems to be an odd time. I mean, they fired one of the oldest coaches in college football, or moved Mac Brown along to bring in one of the oldest coaches in college football at a time that more than ever seems to less likely match with his personality.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just again, there's so many different factors that are going in there. All the while, North Carolina is not an awful team. Mac Brown had a pretty good program. I think they fell to about 6 wins this year after kind of being at that 7-8 win mark. So, you know, and you never know what that means. Sometimes that can mean break it down, build it back up all over. So you'd have a bad first year and then get things going in year 2. Or maybe, okay, they left a few games out there. Maybe you can get them to 8 wins pretty easily. And then, you know, at that point, he's one of the stories of college football.
Yeah, it's a strange game. It's a strange time, Bach.
It is.
It's a strange time. It's a real strange time. I mean, you got Bill Belichick at UNC, and to throw the cherry on top, you got you got a girlfriend younger than me, boy.
So you can't talk about this without going back to the girlfriend.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. Yeah, it ain't. I mean, yeah. Well, yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is.
It is strange. I wonder if she'll come on any recruiting trips with him.
Please no.
I don't know if she recruits the parents as well as the players, but
she'll get some players there.
Yeah. Interesting times, like you said. All right, that'll wrap it up with What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington for today. We'll be back tomorrow, but On the Block taking over your airwaves next year on 93.7 The Ticket.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in, temperature-controlled, high-end wine bar. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for wine, beer, spirits, and cigars. Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln. Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
It happens. All of a sudden, you need a plumber. Just